Hello, everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and duck hunters. We have a very special guest with us today for a very special Q&A, which you put on the IGN UK Podcast Facebook group. There you go, I've done your plug. Alex Simmons is joining me and Ross Miller.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi, Alex.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
I am very good. Ross, I assume you're good?
As good as I can be for a Monday morning, yeah.
You're not
Technically Monday afternoon now.
Well, yeah, technically Monday. Well, it's morning to Scott because he doesn't rise from his bed until about midday every day. So.
Well, actually, it's normally late, but you know, we had a special guest. I had to get up for that.
What a hard life.
It is really hard life. But yeah, just thank you for coming on more than anything. I think everyone in the group appreciates it, and it's just a great honour to have you on, sir.
Well, look, thank you for being part of the group. That's kind of staggered everybody on the team over the past year when it was just a handful of people, and now up to 1,100 or whatever it is now. You know, it's amazing stuff by all you guys.
Insane. Well, that's Jamie to thank for that. Like, we just look pretty. We're the good look to it.
Yeah, so you're definitely the looks of the podcast. That's all the Facebook group show. Sorry, should I say? That's all I can say about that.
I was on about Holly, but yeah, I'll take that. Can't forget Holly, who worked with
No, I can't forget Holly, our Canadian friend.
So yeah, if we've got nothing else to do you want to get straight into these questions, Alex?
Go for it.
Right, we'll start off with Luca Molly. It's a fairly simple one. Favorite colour?
It'd probably have to be the salmon pink of the shorts that he wears. You know, they're just majestic. So, and if anyone can pull off salmon pink, it's Luca Molly.
Great answer. Does he actually wear shorts in the office?
Yes.
He seems like a shorts in the office kind of guy.
It's always summer in Kamali land, so you know, fair play to him.
That wonderful place to visit. Unlike Dismal Land, which was really cool. That was really cool. In 10 years of you being with IGN, Jesus Christ, 10 years.
9 years. It was 9 years August 1st.
9
yeah,
years.
But almost 10 years.
Almost.
Yeah.
I'll say 10 because that sounds better. What's been the most stressful time? Is it a console launch, a convention, or just being head of news?
Actually, you know what? The console launches have all been pretty easy, to be honest. Especially PS4, Xbox One, they were all fairly easy. Because when midnight launches used to be a thing, that was a bit of a pain in the backside. But then we realised that most people didn't really care about midnight launches. You've either pre-ordered it if you want it, and you're going to go and pick it up when you've got it. You know, there's some excitement around the launch of the Wii because. I think up until about 3 or 4 days before that came out, I was like, I'm not going to buy one. And then I played quite a lot of Wii Sports, and I was like, oh my god, I've absolutely got to buy it. And obviously I didn't pre-order, but we had a network of people across London who were telling us where stock was coming in, and I ended up queuing back then with, I think it was Matt Wales and Martin Robinson for about 2-3 hours, and we got one, and obviously I played Wii Sports and Zelda, and then never ever used it again. But probably the most stressful thing, and if Krupa was on this, he would back me up, was when we did a FIFA live stream about 3 years ago. I forget which FIFA it was, but we had Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on there. And we'd never really done live streaming before. So we were at this studio in East London, and obviously Arsenal football player, and I'm an Arsenal fan, so it was exciting for me. Yeah. And literally 30 seconds before going live, I had Stuart Reed saying, it's not working, and I was like literally about to be sick before going live, and some back-end stuff was done and it all worked out, but oh my god, I was like, we've spent lots of money getting this up and running, and you're telling me 30 seconds before we go live it's not working. But it did. But yeah, that's probably the most stressful time in my years here.
I've got a question for you anyway. It's a really important question, this, that we ask all of our guests when they're on. What is the biggest animal that you think you could knock out with a single punch?
Now, do you want me to be all manly and say that I can knock out an elephant? Or should I be realistic?
Do you want to know the answers we've had so far?
Go on then.
Lucy, our Queen of Indies, absolutely loves her indie games. She says a giraffe.
How are you going to knock out a giraffe? Like, unless you've got a stepladder to get up onto? Or
no more than a step ladder. It would have to be a full set, wouldn't it? We're talking window cleaner ladders.
Unless you're hanging out of a tree. I would say that's ambitious. Giraffes are big beasts.
Go for the manly. We're
So
looking up to you,
one
Alex.
of the
So.
guys who works here in sales, he's a sales guy. He comes out with all kinds of crap, and he claims that he's actually knocked out an Alsatian by punching it, and I'm like, come off it. It's like, how ridiculous. So, I think you'd have a pretty good chance knocking out an Alsatian, but why would you want to punch an animal in the first place?
Yeah, that's a very fair point. It's all
Don't question the
hypothetical,
morals of the
that's all.
question, man.
I'm not going to punch an animal, not unless it can hit me back. So maybe a kangaroo, because
Oh.
boxing kangaroos are a thing. Oh, well, they are in Tekken anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, you could just play Tekken, I suppose. Also, Dave Wyatt asks, how does working so closely within the video game, TV and movie industry affect the way you enjoy the different mediums?
Yeah, it's really hard. Like Star Wars is a good example, because I'm now trying to avoid all trailers and information and pictures and everything around Star Wars between now and release. But really, trying to do that in my job for the next 3-4 months is going to be impossible. So that kind of happens a lot. Like, you get really, really close to a game. Like anything that we've done for IGN first. So if you look at, we did The Witcher, we did Dying Light. By the time that game comes out, you're so overexposed to it. It's like, actually, I just kind of want to sit down and play that game as a normal gamer would play it. And so I'm quite fortunate with Metal Gear, because I'm a big Metal Gear fan, is that I've played 20 minutes of that at Gamescom, but that's it. So I'm looking forward to going into that blind. But yeah, that's the hardest thing, is that when you've got to kind of see games or play games for review, especially, I haven't reviewed a game for a long time. Last game I reviewed was God of War Ascension. But you have that ticking clock in the background saying, right, the embargo is, I don't know, 4 days away, but I've got to finish that game. And often it's really, really hard. And, Metal Gear is a really good example. Like, we were lucky in that Vince in the US got a copy of that a week and a bit ago, so he's been able to play it at his own leisure. But a lot of the people in the UK have had to go to review events where it's, you can play it for 9 till 5 for 4 days, and that's it. And you can't see all of Metal Gear in that time.
No, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah. So it sucks out. Like, when you're very close to games and films in that respect, it can suck out some of the enjoyment. But at the same time, first world problems.
Next, Scott.
Speaking about the review events and stuff, obviously you'd much prefer getting the game in through that, so you can do it in your own time and play it how you would play it at home. But is there a pro and con to doing an event, or is it just mainly so the publisher can kind of manage the message a bit more so than just sending out the game? Or
our kind of policy is, or it is now anyway, is that we only kind of tend to go to review events to look at the multiplayer side of things. Because often games aren't online before they go out to retail, the servers aren't up and running, and even then, if we don't feel as though that multiplayer aspect is indicative of what the final retail game is going to be, you'll get a review in progress, which is why you see so many of them on the site. Metal Gear, the multiplayer component of that is, at the minute, relatively small. It's going to be bigger further down the line, which is why, I think most people tend to play Metal Gear as a single-player experience, which is why we've kind of given it the review it will get. But I do think when the full fat kind of multiplayer experience launches in a few weeks' time, then you'll probably see something else on that. But personally, I can't stand review events because, it forces you to play a game in a way that, just it's not realistic.
What else we got here, right? So why is Carol Barrett's feedback read out so frequently?
Just because he writes in more than anybody else. It is a simple, it's one of those things. If you throw a lot of shit, some of it's going to stick. Now, I'm not saying this definitely sticks, but some of it definitely sticks. So, simple as that.
He's also asked, in the last few podcasts, you've mentioned playing some co-op Rocket League in IGN Office. How much gaming do you do in Office? And that's from Kyle Barrett.
So he's the first-time listener, first-time feedback reader, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it's really hard because a lot of people on the outside think our jobs is to watch films, play games, and that's it. But the reality is it's probably 90% writing, planning, etc., 10% of that. But we've we've tried to be a lot more proactive in like playing and enjoying games, not only for review purposes or for coverage purposes, but also just for fun. So Rocket League is a really good example. We finally got 5 consoles rigged up and set up together, which is we were playing GTA
Amazing.
last Friday, and we're going to finish off the heist hopefully this lunchtime. But yeah, it's it's as and when is the reality, and I think especially if you look at between now and December, that's our busy kind of period.
Yeah.
With all the games coming out, all the reviews that are happening. So I think we don't play them as much as we'd like, and I especially don't because my home life is 2 kids, which means for me game time is minimal. But we're playing more now than we have done in the past.
Yeah. Brilliant. Scott, next question.
Oh, I mean, you can see it coming through in the podcast where you're just always talking about Rocket League. Always.
A little bit obsessed.
I can't wait. I can't wait to play it.
It's really good. And the thing I like about it is anyone can play it, but there's definite skills to master. Like some of the people you see playing that game are just insanely good. I'm not one of them, unfortunately. So.
I'd have Rocket League and Smash is like my go-to make friends at uni games. It's like, come around, we can play a game. It's easy. Let's get drunk. Yeah. That's the main reason I can't wait to play Rocket League. And actually have a PS4.
It's amazing.
But yeah, you're a massive Lego fan. We all know that. And the Duckhunters really know that because he asked a lot of Lego questions. But coming from Adam, what's the most expensive Lego set? You don't have to say the price, but just what the set.
I don't mind.
Fair enough.
Well, it's not outrageously. Well, it's quite expensive for a Lego set, but both the Slave one, Boba Fett Slave one, and the B-wing were both 170 quid.
Jesus Christ! I can't imagine spending that much money on Lego.
And I did want to get the Tumbler as well, which is around the same price, but with one child and the second one coming, I thought I can't justify that. So that's it. The one Lego set I wish I'd have bought was the Ultimate Collector's Series Millennium Falcon, which I think was, when it came out in 2007, was about 350 quid. But if you've got a boxed mint one now, it's worth about $5,000.
Oh, so, Jesus Christ!
Wow.
But again, I couldn't justify spending 350 quid on Lego. But goddamn, $5,000 right now.
It's an investment then. That's your pitch, isn't it? It's an investment. Yeah. Yeah,
but see, I'm not one of these people that buys stuff to kind of keep in boxes. Like I've got quite a big trainer collection as well, and a lot of my friends buy trainers and keep Boxfresh. But it's like, what's the point? You buy this stuff to kind of use it and play with it. And for me, like Lego is obviously I don't sit there and play with it because that would be slightly weird. But I find something therapeutic about just sitting there and building it and peace and quietness. It's nice. But I'm never going to buy something and keep it box fresh. That's just not what I do.
Fantastic. Right, next, let's have a look at the next questions. So Colin Fairs asks, what is your least favourite game of all time? It's a hard one, isn't it?
I was going to say, because there are lots of games that I kind of dislike, but if you dislike a game, then especially doing what I do, because I don't buy games, I get sent a lot of games. If I don't like it, I just don't play it. So it's kind of a really tricky one. Especially now where probably my most precious commodity is time. I only play the stuff that I'm really looking forward to, and already I'm thinking, Metal Gear is 60 hours worth of game. I have no idea how I'm going to get that much time into that game between now and Christmas. And I look at people like Krupa and everybody else in the team that, what did you do this weekend? And they sat there and play video games all weekend, and I'm like, oh man, what I would do to be able to do that. So I don't think I've actually got a worst game of all time. It's just I'll only play the stuff that I'm really, really excited by.
Well, he also asks Kirk or Picard.
Oh, Kirk, obviously, yeah. Oh. But William Shatner Kirk, not Chris Pine Kirk.
Very fair point. Was
that even in contention, though? Really, let's face it.
I've spoken about a lot on the podcast about. Look, it's Daniel.
Oh.
I've spoken about it a lot. Oh my god! And who's that tramp? Gav said, "Are you one of my Thai brides that I talked to during my lunch hour?"
I can neither confirm or deny.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, Star Trek. I really wanted those reboots to be amazing. They were good, but I'm a bit of a fair weather Star Trek fan, and for me, two movies that kept on going back to the original series with Spock, I was like, let's move on and do something exciting. And that's my only concern around Star Wars, is that it pushes far enough forward while having a foot in the past. I think J.J. Abrams is a decent director, a good writer. But I think the stuff that he's done has been good, but not quite exceptional. Hopefully he'll change that with Star Wars.
Fringe was pretty good. Like, he was the man behind Fringe. Like,
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorite shows. I'm excited for J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't think of anybody else I'd rather be doing it right now. Thank God it's not Zack Snyder. That's all I can say.
Oh, to be fair, the one I'm most excited about is Rian Johnson, because Looper is one of my favorite films. Just Joseph Gordon-Levitt went through phenomenal lengths to look like Bruce Willis, and then that film's so good. So for him to
He's
do
got
Star
a weird
Wars,
face in that film, though.
yeah, because he looks like young Bruce Willis.
It puts me off, though, because I'm like, I get how movies are made. You don't have to go that far. There is a suspension of disbelief that I get the fact that you're young Bruce Willis without making your face all kind of weird. Anyway.
That's besides the point. So yeah, what's your favourite game then? I know obviously don't actually say your favourite game, just like your top three or best three experiences with gaming.
Well, Ocarina of Time has always been in there, but I must admit when I played Majora's Mask on 3DS, when was that, last year or even earlier this year, I forget. It's between one of those two, because I'd forgotten how good Majora's Mask is, and I think it is because it came out so close to Ocarina of Time, and Ocarina of Time was obviously the one that was a bit of a game changer. But in its own right, Majora's Mask is exceptional. So one of those two is definitely in there. Probably, and I'm probably not going to be that popular, but Modern Warfare 1 is, for me, the template of all. It was the best military FPS at the time. That, did stuff that's just incredible. And I know Call of Duty is an easy target these days, but still, Modern Warfare 1 is amazing. And then the game that got me the job in the industry was Dungeon Master, which most people probably haven't heard of, but it was kind of became the template for action adventures and was incredible. And that's how I got the gig in the industry, by playing that game and being good at that game.
So you owe it to that game then? Basically.
I do, yes.
Well, that leads us nicely into the next question, actually, from Mother Superior, Jamie Martin. If you weren't in games journalism, where would you be right now? Or where do you think you would be, I suppose?
It's really hard, because like a lot of people on the games journalism side, like games journalism doesn't pay particularly well, because there are a lot of people that want to do it, and outside of IGN, no, actually that's not fair. Outside of professional games media, it's a bit of a hobbyist thing. You don't really kind of see it so much in music, for example. Like there are lots of music kind of fan sites, but gaming, there's just billions of them.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of very qualified people out there who really know their shit that aren't perhaps professional games journalists or writers or whatever you want to call yourself. So. A lot of kind of people that I've known or worked with in the past have gone over to publisher side, whether it's in PR or marketing or whatever. And I never ever could see myself doing that, or even development, like working on the same game for 3 years, 4 years. Oh man, I'd just be bored to death. The thing I love about IGN is that you get to see lots of games, lots of TV shows, lots of movies, and it's everything that I kind of like. And so it's hard. Like if I wasn't doing this, for a year I worked as a tech writer on the Mail on Sunday, and tech's interesting. Like I get excited by tech, but the Mail on Sunday, 11 months was enough working there. I couldn't imagine doing any longer than that. All the stories that you hear about, obviously I'm not going to say too much, but all the stories you hear are absolutely true.
The Daily Mail really likes Scottish people. Actually,
Right.
I don't think I've got a leader base up here.
A lot of the people that work there, like on the, the people that I work with, fantastic, but some of the people that work higher up are, I would say, disconnected to reality. That's a nice way of saying it.
Disconnected to reality. I like it. I'm going to use that on my application at uni. Just like, I'm disconnected from reality. Why wait? You want a lecture?
I've got a gig list.
Podcast. Duh.
Yeah.
priorities. Get it right. Speaking of the podcast, and you might be able to drop a bomb at podcast 300. But Lucy Yearwood, our Queen of Indies, when will there be another woman on the podcast? After, because we're all missing Keza.
Yeah. Well, it's that is like we don't have in the UK at least any female members of staff, and that is.
Well, Lucy'd come on. Lucy'd do it.
Like if there was a female, obviously we've had guests lately, and if there was an interesting guest, that we'd absolutely have them on. But you know, the reality is right now we've got a very small team. Obviously myself, Krupa, Chris, Luke, Gav, Rich, and Rory. That's it. If one of them were to leave and were replaced by a woman, then absolutely they'd be on the podcast. But you know, when I kind of hire the people that I hire, I look for the people that do the best job, and whether that's, well, irrespective of age, gender, anything, it's, you know, who really gives a shit about the stuff they're writing about or doing a video about, and that's, you know, that's the kind of most important thing for me. So maybe it will be podcast 300. I'm up for anything.
There you go, Lucy. You should totally just go in anyway.
If she's coming, then, you know, she can come on stage. There you go.
What about me and Ross? Ross is travelling from Scotland.
The question wasn't about you guys, was it?
Well, now it is.
And I've got to pay for some random one-handed man from Hull's hotel room because he's a cheap university student to come to 300. Of course,
What?
talking about Scott. The ramblings of an incoherent Scotsman, that's all you have to put that down to.
Okay.
Scott, next question.
You offered to pay, that's all I'm saying. I've lost track of where we are. I can't remember. Rick asked it. Rick just did a TV show. That was actually quite good. If you could be any Alex in history, what Alex would it be?
This is really boring, but I don't being jealous of other people. I like being me, which is really boring, but it's true. And that's yeah, that's it. Is there a better Alex than me? I don't think so.
Alex the kid?
No. No, one other thing, I'm very comfortable with who I am, and very serious answer. I kind of like the job that I'm doing. I like the people that I hang out with. I like my family. So yeah, I'm pretty sorted.
Sorted then.
Poor.
Well,
it's really boring. Sorry.
I think we've exhausted. Oh no, sorry. Mark Stewart has actually put. Are you annoyed when you Google your name and a DJ and a football of the same name come up first? And is there anything you could do to fix that? I'm
more annoyed by the guy who's got Alex Simmons as a Twitter handle and never updates it, because I'd really like that.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't know. He's not a footballer. He's not a DJ. Also, when I first started doing IGN, it was actually a female tennis player that was ranked higher than I did. Again, I'm not the kind of person that gets bothered by search rankings or YouTube comments or anything like that. It's like, it doesn't bother me.
I don't think you could work with IGN and be bothered by YouTube comments.
Well,
I think that would.
You either laugh at it and read them or ignore them completely, and I do a bit of both. So.
Yeah. I don't know, there's just a lot of negativity that goes towards it, but when you're the biggest one out there, I think that's just an automatic response, is it? That the negativity will always be directed towards the biggest one.
Of course, yeah. Like IGN is an easy target.
Yeah.
It's it's just in the same way that Chelsea is an easy target, and it's like, it's fine. I understand that. And it's like, you look at last year at the GMA Awards, and obviously we won the Gamers' Choice Awards, which was the first award that they've ever opened up to the public. And that, to me, is the most important part of all that. It's not about getting peer recognition, but it's about, people who come to our website and appreciate what we do on a weekly basis. That, to me, is far more important than getting an award that's voted for by the same people in studios or offices or something like that. It's nice to get that stuff, but for me, it's all about what the audience thinks, not what about our peers think.
Fantastic.
So considering you're like this massive conglomerate and you're only a part of it, you had a UK section, and you've obviously got your UK podcast and you've got the superhero show now, which are both brilliant.
And Rebel Base.
And Rebel Base. I didn't forget that. The Star Wars fan calling me out for that. Star Trek.
Yes.
But yeah, so like, is there a interest? Like, obviously you keep getting more shows. Is there more interest in the UK side doing it, because I'm pretty sure, like, this isn't just biased or anything, but the UK just seems to have that better content. You have the camaraderie, is that the right word? Like, you can tell you're all camaraderie. You can tell your friends. You tell you have a blast when you do these shows. Chris and Krupa nail it on the superhero show. You guys nail it every week on the IGN UK podcast. And Rebel Base is Rebel Base. It's great.
So, I think, each their own. Like, if you look at comments across a lot of stuff that we do, you get Americans saying, can the real IGN do this, please, because IGN UK sucks, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's being such a big site with such a big audience and such a diverse audience is that you're going to get some people that like what you do and some people that don't, and that's fine. So it would be lovely to do more out of the UK, but, already, with the kind of size of the crew we've got here, is we do a lot for our size, and also the stuff that you guys don't see, which is, we do a lot more than kind of games writing and film writing and videos. Is everything from working with an idea all the way up to how it's pitched on social. That all comes from our team, whereas in the US they've got individual people to manage all of those processes, which is a luxury that we simply don't have. But yeah, ultimately we'd love to do more. Maybe further down the line we can.
So potential Rory's Power Hour spin-off podcast then. That could happen.
No.
God.
I know where to draw the line, and
what's it going to be called?
Powers is a force that just goes off in a random direction. So.
Well, he's a Pokemon master. He's a certified Pokemon master. It's great.
Like, if you ever get the chance, play in fact any game with Rory, because he's just completely unpredictable, and sometimes in a good way. But when you're trying to do a heist where it's all calculated, not so much. But yeah, he's a funny guy. But yeah, he's a world unto himself.
I had the pleasure of meeting him. It was quite fun.
Did you?
Yeah, at the meetup.
Right. Well, obviously, yeah. If you're all coming down to 300, then we'll all be there. So it'd be good to kind of actually, because obviously a few of you met up at the Glasgow podcast.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I met Gav, Tilly, and Krupa.
Yeah. We'd love to do more of that stuff. And we speak quite a lot about doing the podcast at places other than London, but the reality is that we've still got to fit it in with our day-to-day, and obviously Luke's on news and Rory's doing news videos, and we've got these 3 shows that we've got to make sure get out every single week. So it's just kind of balancing them up and figuring out how we can make the most with what we've got.
And the most important question: do you need an opening act for episode 300?
What have you got in mind?
Oh, we could do Out of Lice before you're coming on.
I see. I tell you what. We'll do an X Factor style audition and see if we can get somebody as a warm-up gig. How about that?
That will be great. I'll wear clothes if we get the gig, Ross.
We're talking about some special stuff around 300. It won't just be a regular podcast of all, the 4 of us or whatever sitting there and having a chat. We're planning some interesting and different stuff that hopefully will work in a live environment as well as for a recorded podcast as well. So. Like I say, we'll have more info on that, hopefully, end of this week, beginning next.
Fantastic. Yeah.
All right.
I think that's us.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for coming on and doing the community proud and answering the questions. So.
No problem. And I'm just sorry about Krupa and Gav coming on. They always spoil everything. So.
That's a wee bit of a photobomb moment. It's quite nice when we put that to YouTube.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
And to you.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Take care. See you later.
Ross. Yep, but Ross. There we go. He's gone.